ammo on them, not here. They have more ammo than the 101st Airborne. But they got lost coming here. Is that who you want on your anti-zombie campaign? No. And finally, be prepared. Be prepared. How do I know when I have to shelter in place or when I have to grab the bug out bag? Okay? Now the old methods, the emergency alert system, that annoying beep that you'll get every once in a while, the outdoor warning signs or sirens, the first Wednesday of each month at noon you'll hear them. If you don't hear them the first Wednesday of each month, you're not within enough distance to be able to hear one. Of course, news media sources and the NOAA weather radio alerts, but since media is changing, I wanted to give you an even better one. The Red Cross got me the Red Cross apps. They are free, and they are great if you have a smartphone. They'll tell you, for instance, tornadoes just came by. They told us exactly where tornadoes were, exactly the city, how long they were going to last, et cetera, and where the shelters are. Do you have shelters that are good for the infirm? If you have very old people in your family, do you have pets? Do the shelters take pets? Some do, some don't. And those things, those websites, again, the Red Cross apps are very good, and I've got several of them for shelters, for hurricane watch, for tornado, for all that stuff. So these are very good. They're very good ways to stay informed. So again, get a kit, make a plan, and be prepared. Now, again, we told you what can cause a zombie apocalypse. We told you a little bit of how to survive the zombie apocalypse. I also want to tell you that you don't have to worry too much. I don't think the zombie apocalypse is imminent. And I know some of you are disappointed, and I hear that. But I'll tell you a little bit why. First off, The Walking Dead or Night of the Living Dead, while I'm a fan of both of them, they're absolutely implausible. The thought of the dead rising. Once you're dead, you're dead. Once you're dead, you don't have what I tell my students is homeostasis. Is maintaining constant internal levels while the external levels vary. It's maintaining something besides equilibrium. Muscles simply won't work without the cardiovascular system. In any of these zombie movies, the brain's functioning, but everything else is gone. And if you don't have a heartbeat, if you don't have a heart, you don't have movement. They just simply don't work that way. So I'm not really worried about the dead. Once the dead's dead, it's going to stay dead. It doesn't matter if you have to, for me personally, it wouldn't matter if you hit the brain or the heart or anything else that would actually kill a human being. So I'm not too worried about that. And again, the dead men don't maintain homeostasis, meaning it would be very hard for them to move. If the temperature was as cold as it is outside, as Dean said, it'd be very quickly they would reach equilibrium with the temperature and the cells would freeze. They would slow down to nothing, muscles, and then they would freeze, and that organism would stay there in place and not bother anybody else. Now you're thinking, well, can it thaw out, the next day when the sun hits? Yeah, possibly, but anybody that's had freezer burned steaks before, you know that that's the shards of water that just rip through cells. So anything that's frozen is not going to stay long. I need to pick all those people like Walt Disney that's in a hyperbaric chamber somewhere or whatever. But I think that's anyway. But some people do it, and I think it ain't gonna work. So also, another reason why I wouldn't panic: the availability of firearms. There's more guns. Not counting the military, there's more guns in the world than there are Americans in the world. Sorry, more guns in America than there are Americans in America. So, and also going back to this presentation I gave you, the last figure shows zombie eradication with immediate, impulsive, coordinated attacks. And the only thing that's going to stop us from being completely eradicated by zombies is a coordinated attack. So do we have it in us to have a coordinated attack on zombies? I would say absolutely. It drives me nuts, as many of you, that whenever there's a zombie movie, no one ever says, oh, those are zombies. They're crazy people, or whatever. Nobody says they're zombies until they're actually getting bitten. The first person that says, hey, those are zombies, is looked at like an idiot, okay? In real life, anytime somebody has even slightly zombie-like characteristics, everybody screams zombies. Okay? How many people remember a guy in Miami that got a space seat ripped off? Okay? Now that was a poor homeless guy that had his face eaten off by another homeless guy. Okay? And that guy was on bath salts, which is not the actual salts, but it was basically a form of methamphetamine. It made him crazy. So it had nothing to do with zombies, but as soon as that hit the news, didn't everybody think zombies? From coast to coast, didn't hillbillies and rednecks alike jump to the hills with their arms? So it's not like you're not prepared. As soon as anything like happens, we're going to prepare. I was actually going to show that that picture. It's too gruesome for you. Okay, I'll show it a little bit. That's the guy's face got ripped off. But that's it. That's all I'm showing. Okay? And then horrible. You want to see it one more time? That is it. Yeah, I'm not sure. It's horrible. You don't look a lot better now. So okay, what about, so that's just the actual dead. We're not too worried about those. But what about the biological, the fast zombies, the World War Z ones, or the World War Z ones, or the 28 days later ones, the fast zombies. All of them are caused by bites, okay? Let me tell you, biting is the most inefficient way to transfer a disease, okay? Again, whenever you have a zombie movie, it's 100% fatal as soon as somebody nicks your arm, somebody cut your arm off, and even that not likely not survive. But in reality, they're the worst way to get a disease. If they were the best way, and if it was 100%, that means every dog, including every human, would have rabies. You understand that? Because dogs bite dogs all the time. But of course, most of the time, you don't get rabies even if you're getting bit by a rabid dog. So biting is about the most inefficient way to transfer microorganisms that can cause zombies. Also, the CDC is actually good at what they do. Now, my co-author and I work for the CDC. I can't stress this enough. I hate the CDC. For certain reasons, we can't stand them. So when I'm here telling you that the CDC is very good at its job, believe me when I say it, because I am no fan of theirs. But they are the first ones to come up with vaccines. They would isolate areas, quarantine, and put down martial law whenever an outbreak occurred. Those of you that remember avian flu did not become a pandemic problem because the CDC jumped all over the region in China where it originated from before it became a problem. So the CDC, for all the things that drive me nuts, they're all very good at what they do, I will say that. Also, again, we talk about bites in 12 seconds or 10 seconds for World War Z. In reality, no virus on the planet will infect you before 24 hours. So usually sometimes it's weeks or even longer before you get infected. Think about when you contract HIV before you actually get full-blown AIDS. Okay? Think of how that long is. Or don't think about it. Anyway, my point is, that's a minimum 24-hour infection period, and it's usually much, much, much longer. And of course, the ones I'm most worried about, prions, are much slower. Kuru, the cannibalism, the real zombie disease I was talking about, takes 10 years from infection to symptoms, okay? So this is not something that can turn around right away. So again, this is no time to panic, people. But until you all go home and rest on your laurels and not worry about the zombie apocalypse, I want to tell you that this is the perfect time to panic, people, and I'll tell you why. First off, the zombie-like diseases are not fictional. They exist today. Rabies, toxoplasmosis, Creutzfeldt-Jacobs, or Kuru, these are zombie-like diseases, and they exist today. Now, the point is, they don't exist in numbers, and they can't transfer very well, but microorganisms can do something a whole lot better than we can, and a whole lot faster than we can, and that is mutation and evolution, okay? Microorganisms evolve so many more times than we do. Not only because their lifespan is instead of decades for a human, they're 20 minutes for a bacterium, for instance. They just mutate and evolve so much faster. And they can swap DNA like we can. We're actually in micro talking about that right now. It's called gene transfer. So basically, I'm not worried about those diseases right now. I'm worried about what those diseases can be in a year or a decade or 2 decades. Because if they evolve, it could be a bigger problem. Yes, biting, for instance, is ineffective, and I'm not worried about a zombie. I can avoid a bite. What I'm worried about is avoiding breathing or drinking, okay? Bloodborne pathogens, basically organisms that come from a bite, are the weakest. What about if they mutated so droplets, somebody sneezes on you, you can get zombieism. Or fomites. A fomite's a surface. Anything, if you grab, somebody has a cold and you grab their cup, and then it's on your hand or something, that's a fomite. So what if they can be transferred via fomites? Or fecal-oral transmission. Just about every kid that doesn't wash their hands has gotten sick multiple times from fecal-oral. A lot of deadly diseases are caused by that. What happens if some of these zombie-like diseases start doing that? And the biggest one, my actual area of expertise, is airborne transmission. Right now, in a so-called healthy room, you can breathe in up to 1,000 microorganisms per cubic meter. That breaks down to about 5 possibly infectious microorganisms with every breath. You can't stop breathing, right? I can avoid being bit. I can't avoid breathing. If not, try it. If you don't think so, try it. It's uncomfortable. My point is, if they actually evolve to to a point enough where they are being bioaerosols, that's the real problem. And again, they can evolve so much quicker than us. And also the biggest thing, this is a bit of a pet peeve for me, I can't stand how a large minority, not a small minority, but a very large minority of the population, just will not take vaccines, okay? Most people that don't take vaccines, this is based on misinformation. 1998 British medical journal called The Lancet related vaccines to autism. That scientist, he didn't fudge the numbers or exaggerate it, he made it up. He straight made up the data. And because of that, we have massive amount of people. He lost his license, and of course they were sued for a lot of money, but now we have huge population of people that will not vaccinate children because they think they're getting them autism. In the meantime, they are exposing them to any of the diseases that would be cured. There's absolutely no link between vaccines and autism. And even people, I remember in H1N1, those of you that might have not have gotten the H1N1 vaccine when it came out, people on the radio said, you don't need the vaccine. That's absolutely ridiculous. That could have turned into as bad of an outbreak as the Spanish influenza in 1918 that killed 1 in every 20 Americans. Think about people in this room, 5 of them would have died from the flu if that hadn't happened. So again, my biggest pet peeve, take vaccine. Anyway, so in conclusion, beware of viruses, parasites, and especially prions. They cause zombie-like diseases now, and they can mutate so much quicker in the future. Okay? Get a kit. Samurai sword and a crate of ammo are not a complete zombie preparedness kit. Again, they're right here. Make a plan. Sitting on your roof with a rifle and a cooler is not a plan. You hear that, Marine? That was your plan. Oh, I'll enjoy myself. Yeah, you'll enjoy yourself, right? Parade, get eaten, right? So, plenty of ammo, right? Be prepared. Don't ignore police, firemen, or FEMA warnings. Don't be the guy that goes in the opposite direction because you think you know more, unless you're me. So don't ignore police, firemen, or FEMA warnings. And if there is a vaccine, don't regard the vaccine because you're not only protecting yourself, but the community around you and your family especially. More information that you have means more chance of survival, and more chances of survival means less zombies that the guilty anti-zombie militia will inevitably have to take down. Now, all of you can't survive, and there wouldn't be a zombie apocalypse, so we wouldn't have any fun, but I'd like some of you to survive, at least those of you that made the time to come up. So anyway, that's my presentation, and I'm going to have questions here in a little bit. Give me a second. We'll have about 10 minutes of questions or so. After that, if you can stick around, we have upwards of 20 people can play some zombie trivia. It'll be very easy. It will be based some on this presentation, some off movies and TV shows, and some off of Max Brooks' zombie survival guide. So I'm going to ask a few questions from you. And again, you can win a prize, and you can have your own actual CDC starter kit. This is tiny, but it's 52 plus tools in it. Emergency blanket, fire light, fire starter, tinder, whistle, button compass, duct tape, compass, ibuprofen, antibiotics, all kinds of stuff here. So this is about a third of your kit right here. I'm also going to give you the CDC poster, and if that's not enough, which it should be, a certificate that I've already signed, and I'll put your name on here for Zombie Survival Award. So dated 11/26. So all you got to do is win the zombie presentation again. I think 10 minutes max. 10, 15 minutes max after this. If you want to stick around, if not, that's fine too. But again, that's a really pretty cool prize. So, any questions? We'll go ahead and start. You know, I interrupted you. Go ahead. You want our first question?
Yes. If you had a certain era in history and you would swap that with a zombie plague, like if you were to compare people who would fare in a zombie apocalypse to another group of people, who would that be?
Well, what an interesting first question. I would say perhaps Roman tactics would probably be the best to fight off forth, the large shields and the what do you call it, the phalanxes. That'd be a good one.
What about World War II?
World War II. Too many automatic weapons. I think World War I would be better with mostly single fire.
Well,
question now. I love World War II zombie movies. World War II.
No. I mean, if you would compare the kind of people who would fare a zombie plague.
That would what?
If you would compare the kind of people who would fare
Survive
a
it?
zombie plague.
Oh, survive it?
Yeah. They,
Well, I
they
think,
kinda seem to-
again, because they're so prevalent now, we know a lot more about them, and we have theories, and we have people that, again, it is tongue-in-cheek, of course, but the CDC and other scientists, they're taking it at least a little bit seriously, and we have more knowledge. Again, if this was something that happened back in, in the World War II or anything before that, they'd have a very steep learning curve they'd have to deal with. And again, if you look at the epidemiology, they only have about 4 or 5 days before zombies take over the earth. So you would have, they'd have to learn if you have to kill a brain, you have to learn that very quickly that a chest attack wouldn't do it, that somebody that was bit or even grazed would be infected. But again, it also depends on what zombies we are. So yeah, I don't think anybody would fare better than us simply because I think most of us are prepared for it. It's become popular enough where people actually take it at least a little bit seriously. People like me. But good question. Anybody else? Yeah.
You ever played any zombie video games?
No, video game. Yeah.
You're not an expert then.
Yeah. Huh? Yeah, of course I do. Yeah. That's all we do. We're doing it. No. You go. No, I think if it's a zombie I'm talking about, any shot would do it. A heart would take it down. Anything that would kill a human should be able to kill any. Okay, if it's a rabies attack or somebody with toxoplasmosis, you kill them like you kill anything else. Okay, and a lot of these zombie movies, the newer ones come out. You don't have to kill them, shoot them in the head. Of course, Night of the Living Dead, something like that. Of course, Walking Dead, you have to kill them in the head. But anything like that, any of the newer ones, like 28 Days Later, anything that would kill a human would kill that. It's just that they don't feel pain. They don't tend not to feel pain in these, so which means you can't. Trauma's not going to slow them down. You need actual kill. Most of the time, the bullet wound shot will kill somebody before actual damage will do it. Shock's not. So it's tougher to kill a zombie for no other reason that shock's not going to damage it. Anybody else? Yeah.
I think your kit's missing. I can't really see too much of a point in cash, but I damn well can see a point in gold, silver, platinum, your family jewels.
Family jewels. Yeah. Always protect your family jewels, boys. Yeah, I'll put that in. Again, this is not just for zombies. This is for anything. Now, if you have a fire and you've lost your home, or if there is, some kind of damage here, if the power goes out, the power grid goes out. Credit cards, that's the big thing that's not going to be worth anything. But paper still might be. After that, if all civilization fails, maybe gold's worthwhile. I don't know why everybody assumed gold's worthwhile. It's just a rock, right?
It's not, but our entire culture is built on this premise that it
But
is.
as we are as paper, so as soon as paper becomes useless, wouldn't gold become useless too? Wouldn't we trade in ammo? I mean, maybe. I don't know. Hopefully we'll get that. Or maybe. I don't know. It's a good question. I don't know. Yeah.
With like the prions and the viruses, they're just dependent on human nature itself. We live until we're about 100 if we're extremely unlucky and then die.
Yeah.
If somebody was infected with something, would it have the same lifespan? Or
No, most of these diseases are fatal. But again, now. But I mean, what if you but they can evolve. What if you had the same? Again, the biggest thing is that they don't. It's hard to transfer the disease. It's hard to get infected. But what if you have the same symptoms, but you last longer? You don't die within a couple of weeks of rabies or a couple of years of Creutzfeldt-Jacobs. So,
like the scenario I'm thinking is grabbing a nice cold beer, hitting up the pub, waiting for the entire thing to just boil over.
that would not be a bad idea. Yeah.
You could wait out.
There's gonna be a lot of beer, but it's fine. Yeah, most of these diseases, again, if they were to come out, they don't last that long. Especially something like rabies. You get a nice good weekend, you get a hangover, and it's all over. So that's not the worst idea in the world. If that's the case, then again, when the shit hits the fan, all bets are off. You don't know. So yeah.
What prevents the zombies from going after themselves? Like in all the movies, they all swarm together and always attack the living creatures. Why wouldn't they ever?
Well, again, they crave human flesh, even though they don't need human flesh. Okay, and most of the movies, it's either the smell or the sound of things. So they can sense, they can communicate at least in some form to each other. So at least some form of communication. And really any organism, from the simplest bacterium all the way to us, can communicate. So it's not completely unheard of for even a brain-dead zombie or almost brain-dead zombie to communicate at least in some rudimentary fashion. Any questions before trivia? Any more questions before trivia? Yeah, one more, go ahead.
Throw this out as you did. Blunt or edged?
I prefer the samurai sword. So, good question, yeah.
Something that doesn't
Something that doesn't require, yeah, something you don't have to reload, you don't have to reload, restore. But then you have to get closer to it. But I can't hit the broadside of a balloon with a bow and arrow. So.
Can we do like a blunt-edged?
Blunt edge, pole.
Pole, real quick, I'm just
Who does blunt? Who does edge? Blunt? Why? Because it makes more of a mess, it's cooler looking when you swing it.
I'm better with a Louisville than I am a.
Fair enough. Fair enough. You from the Commonwealth, or you just borrow the slur?
I've got one or two.
Okay. We're gonna bring our president back over. Allie, where's the president?
She had to go to class.
Okay. Is Neil gone? Where'd Neil go? Okay. This is Tyler Neal. He's the one that came to Mexico with you, by the way. Okay. Anybody who wants to do this, pass this out there, everybody. We got 20 people that can get true, false. Basically, I have two. We're going to start with true, false. So pass this out to everybody with true, false. Anybody wants to play? Again, anybody want to prize, if there's faculty here, staff here, or students, I don't care. Do you? Yeah. You have no idea? Okay. We'll see. Thank you. You guys take it off? There's a few more up here. There you go. One. How many go one and then the other one? Huh? Get up here. Okay. We'll go 21. Pick my whole system down. Okay, it's not going to take that long. Here is the, here's what we're going to do. Here's what we're going to do. The first round is the true or false lightning round. Everybody's going to put the T or the F up. You don't have to look at your neighbor. This is your own choice. Tyler here is going to have a red marker. If you get the wrong, I'm going to just tell you on here. I'm going to tell you which one it is, true or false. Okay? I'm not going to yell at them because they're going to go, oh, so if they have the wrong answer, I want you to come through and I want you to X the front and X the back. Best if you're X from the front and back, you can keep the card, but you were infected and we had to shoot you in the head. I apologize. But now let's do the shooting round. Okay. You got that? I'll tell you what it is. One and done. Onezo dunzo, as we call it. Yeah, this is just the true and false round. One and done. Okay? Tell them a question. True or false? According to the Zombie Survival Guide, zombies are after human brains and this is all they will eat. Put a T or an F up. Small out here. Oh, we got some smart people. We got some smart people. It's gonna be hard to get rid of you. I only see, yeah, that's false. I'm sorry. Again, you can't have a zombie apocalypse without zombies. Okay, so that is false. Well, ain't that what is a souvenir, Tyler? True or false? Zombies can sense pain but have a high tolerance for it. Again, according to the Zombie Survival Guide. I mean, T's or F's? Oh, the smart people. X her out. Huh? Oh, X this guy out. Ah, my brother. That's a shame. Yeah, that is false. Yeah. Next, according to the Zombie Survival Guide, the virus that reanimates the dead is not only limited to humans. Survivors like yourself must also be on the lookout for zombie dogs, cats, squirrels, etc. It is a trans-species outbreak and a living nightmare. True or false? No, that's a hard one. That's a hard one. Yeah, it happened. That happened. We'll miss you, honey. Yeah. That is false. Again, we already talked about viruses that cannot, that typically are zootonic. So I'm sorry, did you put Drew down? You did, didn't you? Sorry. Thank you for playing. We have lovely party guests. Last true or false round before we do the lightning round. Oh yeah, we have 3 rounds. We're gonna get rid of Ollie, I promise. True or false, according to the Zombie Survival Guide, it is a good idea to build a fire every night because it provides warmth, a psychological sense of security, and zombies are instinctively afraid of fire and keep away from it. Should we have a fire every night? True or false? How many do we got left here? We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 people. We have 8 people. I'm sorry, buddy, that's false. Yeah, they're not Frankenstein. They're not afraid of fire. Okay? Now, next is either multiple choice or short answer. Okay? As I'm going to go around the room. Okay? I'm going to go around the room, and you really get just one shot at this. You're not going to wait forever. I'm not going to do the Jeopardy thing. I want to answer right away. If you get it right, you keep your card. If you get it wrong, we have to eradicate you. Okay? We have 18 of these questions, which means everybody's going to get a couple shots at it. And at the end, we'll have a tiebreaker, I promise. Some of these are difficult. Some of these are easy. So, you ready for the... You stick with her. We'll just go along. Just grab cards. Go ahead. I'll tell you what's right or wrong, and if she's wrong, then pick a card. Okay? In the Walking Dead TV series, what do the survivors theorize most attracts walkers to humans? Don't help her. The answer is C, smell. I'm sorry, that's hard. Okay, where are we at here? Kyle, are you ready? You ready?
Yeah.
According to the Zombie Survival Guide, which of the following are zombies which of the following are zombies not capable of doing? Can they not climb ladders, climb stairs, walk underwater, or communicate with one another? What can't they do?
Can't climb ladders.
That is correct. That's correct. Keep your card. Good job. Yeah, you on? Yeah, you on here? Okay, here we go.
Yeah.
According to the Zombie Survival Guide, what is the one and only way to kill a zombie?
Shoot him.
The head.
You gotta wait for that.
Oh, is there a round?
No, this is. What's your answer?
Shoot him.
Take his card. Game is the brain. The brain. Shoot it in the head, hit it in the head, cut it, it's too late. Take the card. Take the card.
Yeah, but this is anywhere.
I said according to the Zombie Survival Guide. Don't argue. Who's next? Who's left? Who's left? You back here. Back here. You ready? According to the Zombie Survival Guide, what is the best possible means of transportation for fleeing an infected area? M1 Abrams tank, a horse, a four-wheel drive truck or ATV, or a motorcycle? What would you pick? Nobody help her. Quickly.
I would say B.
The answer is a motorcycle. Okay? Horses you gotta feed. They can be big, they can be torn apart, they can die. Right? And things like SUVs, the roads get locked all the time. So, especially in urban areas, worst places. If we had bicycles, that'd be even better. Okay? Who's next? Over here, back here? Okay, here we go. What's the best place to find temporary shelter and get some rest? A grocery store because the doors can be secured and there's plenty of food. A church or synagogue because zombies cannot tread on holy ground. A rowboat because zombies cannot swim. Or a school with few exits and windows and typically bars on them. Where would you hide out? Temporary shelter.
Temporary shelter, I'd go with the rowboat.
That is correct. It's a survivor. Who's left? Who's next? You left? Excellent. Okay. Which is the best direction to head in order to survive for the long term? Assuming you're starting on campus. You want to go east to the coast because zombies cannot swim, so the coast has plenty of hiding spots. You want to go south because food is plentiful and heat will cause zombies to rot. North to the Arctic Circle because food is scarce, but so are people and potential zombies. Or west toward the mountains because zombies cannot climb well. Where would you go? Or south, east, or west? It's the only one I haven't known. That's why you die. It takes one chance. Yeah. North, they will freeze and they'll die. I didn't even mention that. Take a start. How many people are left here? I'm going to give you, okay. So you're left, okay. So you haven't had a question yet? Did you score live? Okay.
1, 2, and 3.
The motorcycle one was incorrect.
Huh?
He said specifically a dirt bike, not a motorcycle.
I just read it. I'm like double checking. But you know what? If he had said, well, dirt bike's correct, I would probably give it to him anyway. So, fair enough. Or I prefer a bicycle. So, that's so assuming he can ride a motorcycle. So, Where are we at here? So it's your turn. According to the Zombie Survival Guide, what is the best possible food to stock up on?
Is it me or her?
You in the red, right? You're left, aren't you? See, beef jerky, I think right. It's cans of Dinty Moore. It has, of course, has beef. Beef, it has protein. It does have vegetables. So get cans of Dinty Moore beef stew. Beef jerky is just going to dehydrate you.
Chris,
Yeah.
she's got a car.
You got a card too? You ready?
There's
Just yours, okay? In the movie Zombieland, this is an easy one. What snack food is Tallahassee obsessed with? Twinkies, I know. It's not fair, is it? You got north, south, east, and west. It's horrible. Sometimes people get eaten, sometimes they don't. Okay, here's the hardest next. Oh, it's a hard one. You ready for this? As stated in the presentation, the first zombie movie is 1932's White Zombie. I will give you the biggest hint ever. It starred the what iconic actor? This actor is most famous for playing Dracula. So essentially, I'll give you a little bit of help. Who is the most famous movie monster guy of all time? Movie monster actor of all time. 1932.
Luca?
Luca? Go ahead.
Bela Lugosi.
Bela Lugosi. Lugosi? It's Lugosi. Close enough. Bela Lugosi. I'm sorry. You ready? All right. According to the Zombie Survival Guide, what is the best form of air travel? This is a hard question. Would you want to find a fixed-wing aircraft, a helicopter, a hot air balloon, or a dirigible, which means a blimp or a zeppelin? If Yaddle Ford was sitting there, what'd you grab the keys to?
I would say D.
That's absolutely correct. You grab the dirigible. Yes. Very easy to control, and they don't blow up anymore because we don't fill them up with hydrogen. Okay. Are you guys alive? Anybody alive here? That was a rough section.
There's only 5 of them.
There's only 5 of them? Okay. We are going to go right to the sudden death. Okay? Now everybody's got one question, right? And right or wrong. One question, right or wrong. Okay. These are getting rid of these, but these are other multiple choice. We're going right to round 3. Give me a second.
I don't think your Walking Dead question was fair.
Well, that's just bullshit.
I mean,
Round 3. Everybody with a
I'm
card.
just saying.
Everybody with a card left. You got a card. Who else has a card? Get a pen or a Sharpie. Whatever you got. Anybody else need a pen or a Sharpie or something yet? She gives me the same grief in school. In class. Everybody got a pen or a Sharpie?
Can you thank you.
Here's the tiebreaker. The answer is going to be a number. Okay? The answer is going to be a number. The closest to that number without going over that number will be the winner. If everybody is over to that number, then the closest to that number. Okay? And I'll give you a little while to think about this. This is a question I probably would have gotten wrong myself. Tiebreaker. Give me the number of zombie movies released worldwide. Okay? Now listen. That means zombies are presented in the storyline as actual zombies, not made up Scooby-Doo zombies. The film has been released. We're not talking about direct-to-video, limited distribution, or video on demand. The films are feature length. That means 59 minutes or longer. Or later period, basically an hour or longer. That also includes any foreign markets. So things like Dead Snow and Zombie from Italy would count as well. So starting with 1932's White Zombie, how many zombies movies have there been worldwide? Okay, so you write the number down, and we're going to see who's correct. Again, closest without going over. Yeah, you see some of the smartphones smack their hand.